I stood frozen, her defiant words ringing in my ears. Mom, it's none of your business. My daughter cheating on the sweetest young man I'd ever met. In that instant, I questioned everything, my parenting, her values, and the delicate line between guidance and interference. When Lizzie first introduced Jacob to our family, it felt as though she'd brought home the sun itself. From the very beginning, Jacob's presence filled our house with warmth and light. He was polite, smart, and respectful, the kind of young man any parent would wish their child would find. Every evening, he sat at our dinner table, confidently sharing about his school achievements and future plans. Always thoughtful, always considerate. Jacob was on track to becoming valedictorian, a testament to his diligence and determination. He didn't simply excel academically. He brought a genuine kindness to every interaction, helping Lizzie and Mackenzie with their homework and often staying late to play board games with our family. I watched their relationship blossom with quiet joy, reassured by their innocent laughter, their whispered conversations on the porch, and the comfort with which they moved around each other. As months went by, Jacob practically became part of our family. Our traditions effortlessly included him: Sunday pancake breakfasts, movie nights, and even holiday celebrations. During Thanksgiving, he helped me in the kitchen, without hesitation, peeling potatoes and cracking jokes. At Christmas, he gifted thoughtful presents not only to Lizzie, but to Mackenzie and me as well. His sincerity touched my heart deeply. On weekends, Jacob was always around, whether helping Lizzie with a school project or simply spending hours chatting in our living room. His steady presence provided a sense of stability, especially after the painful divorce from Lizzie's father. He respected our home, our routines, and most importantly, our family values. I often caught myself smiling, quietly relieved that Lizzie had found someone like him to navigate the complexities of adolescence. But beyond Jacob's academic and social accomplishments, what truly stood out was the tenderness with which he treated Lizzie. The simple gestures, a gentle squeeze of her hand, patient listening to her frustrations, thoughtful texts checking on her day painted a vivid picture of genuine affection. They seemed inseparable, perfectly attuned to each other's rhythms and moods. I admired how comfortable they were with each other, believing that Lizzie was fortunate to experience such a healthy and supportive first relationship. It was a gift, I thought, something rare and beautiful, especially for teenagers navigating a complicated world. Jacob embodied everything I had hoped Lizzie would find: honesty, empathy, integrity, and unwavering kindness. It was that image of perfect harmony that made the eventual discovery of Lizzie's betrayal so profoundly unsettling, casting a shadow over the pristine picture I'd cherished, and forcing me to confront the fragility of youthful love and trust. The first crack appeared on an otherwise ordinary evening. I was tidying the hallway when I overheard Lizzie's laughter, distinctly flirtatious and playful, from her bedroom. At first I smiled, thinking it was just another sweet moment between her and Jacob. But then the laughter was punctuated with a name I didn't recognize: Brandon. Curiosity quickly shifted into a sinking dread. I paused, trying not to breathe too loudly, heart pounding, as snippets of conversation filtered through the closed door. The tone was unmistakably affectionate, the words exchanged, hinting at a closeness that left no doubt Lizzie was talking to another boy, not Jacob. That night, sleep eluded me. I lay awake mentally replaying every interaction I'd witnessed between Lizzie and Jacob, desperately hoping I'd misunderstood. But my instinct, sharpened by years of parenting, whispered that I hadn't. A week later, another incident shattered any lingering hope that it was merely a misunderstanding. Lizzie announced casually that she was going out with a friend. From the kitchen window, I watched her approach a car I didn't recognize. A young man stepped out, tall and unfamiliar. My heart froze as she reached up and kissed him briefly but unmistakably before climbing into his car. The image burned itself into my mind, a betrayal not just of Jacob, but of everything I'd taught her about honesty and integrity. I was stunned, deeply hurt, and angry all at once. Watching Jacob continue to visit our home afterward, his sincere smiles oblivious to the storm beneath, felt cruelly unjust. Each friendly conversation, each shared joke twisted the knife deeper. Every day the crack widened, threatening to shatter my vision of our family's moral foundation. Meals around the table became painful. I watched Lizzie closely, searching for remorse or hesitation, but saw none. Instead, she seamlessly continued her relationship with Jacob, laughter ringing false in my ears, gestures of affection feeling staged and hollow. I grappled with the weight of responsibility. Should I confront her directly, intervening in her private life and risking our relationship? Or was it wiser to let her navigate her own mistakes, trusting she'd eventually recognize the harm she was causing? My internal debate raged quietly, exhausting me emotionally. But each time Jacob walked through our door, hopeful and trusting, I knew deep down that silence was no longer an option. The perfect picture of teenage love had been irrevocably tarnished, leaving me to gather the shards and piece together the right way forward. Facing Lizzie felt inevitable. The moment had arrived when silence became unbearable, and I knew my heart would shatter if I didn't confront the truth. That morning, I found her sitting at the kitchen table, eyes fixed on her phone, oblivious to the storm brewing just beyond her screen. I took a deep breath, steadying the whirlwind of emotions inside me: anger, disappointment, fear, and above all, love. Lizzie. I began softly, my voice trembling, despite my best efforts to remain calm. She looked up, confusion flickering across her features. I motioned toward the empty seat beside her. Sit down, please. As she complied, I watched her struggle to read my expression. Gathering my thoughts, I laid out what I'd seen: Brandon's car, the stolen kiss, the late-night calls. Each detail landed heavily between us, a series of undeniable truths. Her reaction was not what I'd expected. Instead of tears or remorse, I saw a defiant spark. "Why are you making such a big deal out of nothing, Mom?" she snapped. My chest tightened, but I pressed on, refusing to let anger derail me. I reminded her of Jacob, his sincerity, the trust he placed in her, his unwavering kindness. I reminded her of the values we'd instilled: honesty, respect, and accountability. Lizzie's shoulders slumped, and for a moment I thought I'd reached her, but then she raised her head, voice quivering. "I'm allowed to make choices, Mom. I'm growing up." I felt a pang of guilt. I knew this was her rite of passage, but I couldn't let that overshadow the pain of betrayal. I explained that making choices didn't absolve her of responsibility for the consequences they carried. As the conversation unfolded, my stern tone softened. I shared how deeply I cared for her happiness and how important it was to treat others with integrity. I spoke of Jacob's heartbreak and how actions echo far beyond the moment. Tears welled in Lizzie's eyes as she realized the weight of her mistakes. The tension remained, but beneath it a fragile understanding began to form. By the end, Lizzie was quiet, perhaps startled by the raw honesty of our exchange. I offered her a chance to make amends, a sincere apology to Jacob, the courage to end things if her heart had shifted, and steps to rebuild trust with both Jacob and our family. I grounded her not out of punishment, but as a pause, a time for reflection. When I walked away, I didn't know what the next days would bring, but in facing reality and choosing courage over silence, I believed we'd taken the first step toward healing. The moment I reached for the phone to dial Jacob, my hand hovered, heart pounding. Confronting Lizzie had opened a door, but healing required action. That afternoon, Jacob arrived, his familiar smile faltering when he sensed the tension in the air. I guided him to the living room, where Lizzie was waiting, eyes cast downward. The three of us sat in silence, the weight of unspoken questions filling the space. I cleared my throat. "Jacob, you deserve the truth." His eyes met mine, steady, trusting, reminding me why I had to do this. "Lizzie has been seeing someone else? I'm so sorry you found out like this." Jacob's expression flickered between confusion and hurt. "Someone else?" he whispered, turning to Lizzie. Her face flushed, tears shimmering at the corners of her eyes. "It's not what you think," she stammered, but her voice lacked conviction. Jacob rose, hands clenched at his sides. "Not what I think. I saw you with him, heard it too." His voice broke, disappointment lacing every word. "You lied to me, Lizzie." He knelt to meet her at eye level. Why not tell me?" Lizzie's shoulders shook as tears rolled down her cheeks. I was scared. I thought if I ended things with you, you'd hate me. And with him, it just felt easier." Her confession hung in the air, fragile and raw. Jacob's chest heaved with emotion. He looked to me, eyes searching. "Is this true?" I nodded gently, pain echoing in my own heart. He closed his eyes, angling his head upward as if the ceiling could absorb his anguish. Then slowly he exhaled, voice soft but firm. "I trusted you, Lizzie. Trust means everything to me. If it's gone, I don't know how to keep going." Lizzie's sobs grew louder. "I'm so sorry, Jacob. You didn't deserve this." She reached for his hand, but he hesitated. "I need time," he said, pulling away gently. "I need to think about what this means for us, for me." He stood and returned to my side. Placing a hand on my shoulder, he said quietly, "Thank you for telling me the truth, even if it hurts. I'd rather know than live in a lie." Then, with a final glance at Lizzie, he walked out. The front door clicked shut. Lizzie sank to the floor, tears pooling at her feet. I knelt beside her, wrapping my arms around her shaking frame. Confrontation had brought truth to light, but healing remained uncertain. In that charged moment, we faced the consequences of choices made and the long road ahead toward forgiveness and growth. In the days that followed the confrontation, a tense silence settled over our home. Lizzie moved through the house like a shadow, withdrawn and quiet. I watched her closely, sensing the deep turmoil she was wrestling with, yet mindful that actions had consequences, and these lessons, however painful, were essential. Lizzie approached me hesitantly one evening as I sat at the dining table sorting through mail. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Mom, can we talk?" The vulnerability in her eyes softened my resolve, but I knew I couldn't waver. I motioned for her to sit beside me. "Mom, I've thought a lot about what you said." She began softly. "I know what I did was wrong, and I hate myself for hurting Jacob. But the senior trip, do you really have to take that away? Everyone will be there, and I've been looking forward to it all year." Her plea tugged at my heart, and memories flooded back, the excitement of planning, her laughter ringing through the halls, with friends' anticipation for one of the most memorable experiences of her school years. But I steadied myself, knowing this was a pivotal moment. "Lizzie," I replied gently, my voice firm but compassionate, "I understand how much this trip means to you. But choices carry weight. Trust was broken, and now we need to rebuild it. Missing the trip isn't punishment for its own sake, it's a time for reflection, an opportunity to understand the full impact of your decisions. Tears filled her eyes again, a mixture of frustration and remorse. It's just one mistake, Mom. Haven't I paid enough? Her voice cracked, filled with desperation. I reached out to take her hand, my grip firm but comforting. It's about more than just one mistake, sweetheart. It's about integrity and accountability. It's about understanding that every choice has ripple effects that touch others deeply. Jacob trusted you completely. Trust like that takes time and effort to mend. You have to earn it back, and that takes more than just words. Lizzie's shoulders slumped, and for the first time I saw genuine understanding dawning on her face. She nodded slowly, accepting the weight of her actions. I get it, she whispered, voice thick with emotion. I don't like it, but I get it. We sat together quietly, the silence between us softer now, less charged. I felt a sense of relief knowing she was beginning to grasp the importance of responsibility. This is your chance to grow stronger, I encouraged softly. To learn who you want to be. It won't be easy, but it's necessary. She squeezed my hand gently. Thanks for believing in me, Mom, even when I mess up. Her words filled me with hope, a fragile promise that, through these consequences, she might find her way back to integrity and trust. Just as Lizzie and I started to mend our fractured bond, external voices began to intrude, complicating the delicate progress we'd made. One evening, the phone rang. My ex-husband's familiar number flashed on the screen, instantly filling me with apprehension. Taking a deep breath, I answered, bracing myself. His voice was terse, carrying an edge of impatience. What's this about Lizzie not going on her senior trip? Don't you think you're being a bit harsh? I felt a sting of resentment, instantly reminded of how differently we viewed parenting morality and accountability. Keeping my voice even, I explained Lizzie's actions and the consequences we'd agreed upon, emphasizing the importance of teaching her responsibility. You're making too big of a deal out of this, he scoffed dismissively. Lizzie's young, and relationships at this age are just temporary anyway. Don't let your bitterness about us cloud your judgment with her. His words cut deeply, stirring old wounds. I struggled to maintain my composure, anger bubbling beneath the surface. My decision isn't about bitterness, I replied, voice tight but steady. It's about teaching Lizzie that choices matter, and integrity isn't negotiable. I won't let her think it's okay to hurt others without consequences. He sighed loudly, frustration palpable. She's hurting enough as it is. Don't you think missing the trip is punishment enough? I could feel the weight of his accusation, that I was somehow failing Lizzie, burdening her unfairly. Yet, deep within me, a voice whispered reassurance. Standing firm in these lessons was essential, even if misunderstood by others. The next day, Lizzie returned from her weekend at her father's place, visibly upset. Her eyes were red, her demeanor withdrawn. Quietly, she shared how her dad had tried convincing her that my actions were unfair, driven by unresolved emotions from our divorce. My heart ached seeing her confusion caught between the conflicting narratives from her parents. I chose my words carefully. Lizzie, this isn't about your dad and me, it's about you, about the woman you're becoming. I hope someday you'll see that these lessons come from love, not anger or bitterness. She nodded slowly, absorbing my words. Days passed and whispers began spreading among friends and neighbors, each bringing their own judgments. Some openly questioned my parenting, claiming I was too strict, while others praised my resolve. The voices from outside tested my strength, making me doubt and second-guess my choices. But each night as I replayed these conversations, clarity emerged. My job wasn't to please everyone. It was to guide Lizzie towards integrity, compassion, and strength, even when unpopular, even when difficult. Standing firm amid the chorus of conflicting opinions became my quiet act of courage, an unwavering belief in the power of tough love and truth. Amid the external criticism and confusion, I found myself reflecting deeply on integrity and the values I had long cherished. One evening after Lizzie had gone to bed, I sat alone in the dimly lit living room, poring over old photo albums. Images of simpler times reminded me of the foundational lessons my own parents had instilled: truth, accountability, and empathy. Recalling a pivotal moment from my youth, I remembered the sting of facing my own mistakes and how crucial those uncomfortable conversations were in shaping my character. My parents had never shied away from tough love, ensuring I understood the gravity of my actions and the strength required to mend what was broken. The next morning, inspired by these memories, I invited Lizzie to join me for breakfast outside on the porch. The early sunlight was warm, casting a gentle glow around us. As we shared a quiet meal, I opened up, telling her about times in my life when I'd faltered, when integrity had been challenged and tested. Her eyes widened with surprise and curiosity, as I admitted my own imperfections and the hard lessons learned through experience. Integrity, Lizzie, I explained softly, isn't about never making mistakes. It's about how you handle those mistakes once you've made them. It's about honesty even when honesty hurts, and about taking responsibility even when it feels overwhelming. She listened intently, her eyes thoughtful. But Mom, what if people never forgive me? Her voice trembled with uncertainty. I took her hand, gently offering reassurance. Forgiveness isn't guaranteed, sweetheart. But integrity means doing the right thing, regardless of whether you're forgiven or praised. It's about who you are when nobody else is watching, when nobody else knows. Lizzie sat quietly, absorbing my words. Her gaze drifted toward the garden, lost in contemplation. Eventually she nodded, her voice filled with quiet determination. I understand now. It's about being true to myself, even if it's hard. That day marked a subtle, yet powerful shift in our home. Lizzie began to show small signs of change, a sincerity in her apologies, efforts to reconnect with Jacob respectfully, and thoughtful discussions about honesty and trust. Our bond grew stronger through these candid conversations, built not just on parental authority, but on shared vulnerability and mutual respect. Through this challenging journey, Lizzie was beginning to see integrity, not as an unreachable ideal, but as a practical guidepost for life. As I watched her slowly embrace these lessons, I felt hopeful that these experiences, painful as they were, had equipped her with a strength and understanding that would guide her through future trials, empowering her to live a life she could genuinely be proud of. In the weeks that followed, Lizzie began taking concrete steps to repair the trust she had damaged. Watching her navigate this path filled me with a cautious optimism. Each step she took was small, yet meaningful. One evening, I overheard her quietly rehearsing an apology to Jacob in her room. The sincerity and vulnerability in her voice softened my heart, signaling genuine remorse. When the day finally came for Lizzie to meet Jacob, I felt a mix of anxiety and pride. She had requested the meeting herself, recognizing that amends had to be made directly and honestly. I drove her to the park where they had spent countless afternoons laughing, sharing secrets, and building their bond. As we arrived, Jacob was already there, waiting quietly by a bench, his posture reserved but open. Lizzie walked toward him, visibly nervous but determined. I stayed back, giving them privacy, but close enough to sense the emotional weight of their interaction. Lizzie spoke first, her voice trembling, yet clear. She openly admitted her mistakes, acknowledged the pain she'd caused, and sincerely apologized. Her humility was evident, free from excuses or justifications. Jacob listened carefully, his expression softening, as he witnessed her genuine remorse. When he finally spoke, his voice was gentle yet firm. Lizzie, thank you for apologizing. It means a lot. But trust is fragile. It takes time and effort to rebuild. I need space to heal, but I appreciate you coming here to make things right. Lizzie nodded in understanding, tears gently rolling down her cheeks, not from rejection, but from a deeper recognition of the profound impact her actions had on someone she deeply cared about. Jacob extended his hand, and Lizzie took it gratefully, a silent agreement passing between them. The road ahead was uncertain, but they had both taken a significant step toward healing. As we drove home, Lizzie was quiet, reflective. Eventually she turned to me, her voice filled with newfound maturity. Mom, you were right. Facing what I've done and apologizing was harder than anything I've ever done, but I feel lighter now. I never want to hurt someone like that again. I smiled gently, squeezing her hand. You learned something important today. Making amends isn't just about saying sorry, it's about changing how you live afterward. It's a continuous commitment to doing better. In the days that followed, Lizzie continued making subtle yet meaningful changes. Her actions demonstrated her sincerity, respecting boundaries, being thoughtful, and consistently practicing honesty. Our relationship deepened, significantly anchored by mutual respect and understanding. Watching Lizzie mature through this difficult process filled me with pride and gratitude, reassured that the painful lessons we'd navigated together had laid a foundation for lasting growth and genuine integrity. Months later, I found myself reflecting deeply on our journey, marveling at the transformation Lizzie had undergone. Our family had navigated a storm, and though it had tested our bonds, it ultimately strengthened them. Lizzie's actions now spoke louder than her words. She was considerate, compassionate, and more mature than ever. Her integrity was no longer a theoretical value, but a cornerstone of her character, guiding her decisions with sincerity and wisdom. One quiet afternoon, Lizzie approached me, eyes filled with gratitude. Mom, thank you for never giving up on me. Those were the hardest lessons I ever had to learn, but they changed me forever. Her heartfelt acknowledgement brought tears to my eyes, reinforcing the profound power of tough love, tempered by compassion. Our home was now filled with renewed trust, deeper understanding, and genuine love. Jacob had found peace, and though their relationship had changed, mutual respect remained. The difficult journey taught Lizzie and me the irreplaceable value of honesty, accountability, and genuine amends. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone you care about. Subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt journeys of growth, resilience, and integrity. Let us know in the comments below how you've navigated your own challenging lessons in honesty and trust. Remember, choosing integrity is always worth the struggle. It shapes who we become and defines our deepest relationships. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to sharing more meaningful stories with you soon.